In the vast and mysterious expanse of space, Earth had always been considered an unremarkable little planet by the countless alien civilizations scattered across the galaxy. To them, it was just a tiny blue dot floating in the endless blackness, home to primitive beings who had barely scratched the surface of technological advancement. For centuries, humanity remained blissfully unaware of the cosmic dramas unfolding far beyond its skies. But that all changed one fateful day when the universe decided to pay Earth a visit. It started with something small, something that many people dismissed as nothing more than a glitch or a trick of the light. Astronomers around the world noticed strange anomalies in the night sky. Stars seemed to flicker unnaturally and clusters of lights appeared where none should have been. At first, scientists chalked it up to equipment malfunctions or atmospheric disturbances, but as days passed, the patterns grew more pronounced. Bright streaks of light zipped across the heavens at impossible speeds, vanishing without a trace. These weren't random occurrences, they were deliberate movements. Something or someone was out there. News of these sightings spread quickly, sparking both curiosity and fear among the public. Social media buzzed with theories ranging from government experiments to extraterrestrial visitors. Governments, however, remained eerily silent. Behind closed doors, emergency meetings were held, and classified reports were exchanged. Intelligence agencies confirmed what astronomers had suspected. Earth was not alone. Powerful telescopes captured images of massive objects hurtling toward the planet. They were ships, alien ships, and they were coming fast. The tension reached a breaking point on a cold winter evening when the skies above Earth lit up like never before. Dozens of enormous metallic vessels descended through the atmosphere, their sleek designs gleaming ominously under the pale glow of the moon. Each ship dwarfed even the largest human-made structures, casting long shadows over cities below. The sheer scale of the fleet left no room for doubt. This was no friendly visit. Humanity's worst fears had come true. Aliens had arrived, and they weren't here to make friends. From one of the lead ships, a transmission crackled through every radio frequency and television channel on Earth. A deep, guttural voice filled living rooms and streets worldwide. "This is Zorath 7, it declared, laced with arrogance and menace. "We are the Apex Collective, rulers of the galaxy. Your species has squandered the resources of this planet, polluted its environment, and waged endless wars against yourselves. You are unfit to govern such a valuable world. Surrender now or face annihilation." The message sent shockwaves through humanity. People froze in terror, unsure of what to do next. Streets emptied as families locked themselves indoors, praying for some miracle to save them. Religious leaders called for divine intervention, while conspiracy theorists claimed this was the end of days. Governments scrambled to respond, but their options were limited. Military forces mobilized, but how could tanks and fighter jets stand against interstellar invaders armed with technology far beyond anything humans had ever seen? Amid the chaos, a glimmer of hope emerged, but only a select few knew about it. Buried deep beneath mountains, deserts, and oceans, hidden facilities hummed with activity. Inside these bunkers, teams of engineers, physicists, and strategists worked tirelessly on a project so secret that most governments didn't even know it existed. It was called Eclipse, and it represented humanity's last, desperate gamble for survival. Eclipse had begun decades earlier, born out of necessity after several unidentified flying objects crashed in remote parts of the globe. Scientists had recovered fragments of advanced alien technology from these wrecks and spent years reverse engineering them. What started as small-scale experiments eventually evolved into something extraordinary. A fleet of star destroyers designed to rival anything the galaxy had ever seen. These ships were unlike anything humanity had built before. Their hulls were forged from materials stronger than steel, yet lighter than aluminum. Their engines harnessed energy from quantum fields, allowing them to travel faster than light. And their weapons? Plasma cannons capable of slicing through asteroid belts and missiles that could track targets across entire solar systems. But despite the brilliance of the design, the fleet wasn't ready. Activating the Star Destroyers required an immense amount of energy, far more than conventional power sources could provide. The solution lay in harnessing Earth's ionosphere during a rare celestial alignment set to occur in just a few days. Until then, the ships remained dormant, waiting for the moment they would awaken. While the engineers raced against time, world leaders devised a plan to buy precious hours. Using decoys and misinformation, they convinced the aliens that Earth's defenses were weak and disorganized. Fake transmissions broadcast images of crumbling military bases and empty stockpiles of weapons. Civilians played along, spreading rumors of surrender on social media. The goal was simple: keep the invaders occupied long enough for Eclipse to activate. As the alien armada hovered menacingly above Earth preparing to strike, humanity held its breath. The fate of the planet rested in the hands of a handful of scientists and engineers working in secrecy. They knew failure wasn't an option. Every weld, every circuit, every calculation mattered. In dimly lit control rooms, men and women whispered prayers and exchanged grim smiles. They understood the stakes better than anyone else. If Eclipse failed, Earth would fall, and humanity would be erased from existence. Outside, the skies darkened as the aliens prepared their assault. Massive beams of energy shot down from their ships, striking cities and reducing skyscrapers to rubble. Fires raged, smoke choked the air, and screams echoed through the streets. Yet amidst the destruction, a quiet resolve began to take root. Ordinary people banded together, helping neighbors escape collapsing buildings and tending to the wounded. Strangers became heroes, risking their lives to protect others. Even in the face of unimaginable horror, humanity refused to give up. Deep underground, the final preparations for Eclipse neared completion. Engineers monitored screens displaying streams of data, ensuring every system functioned perfectly. The countdown to activation began, each second feeling like an eternity. Above ground, the alien fleet unleashed another wave of attacks, pushing Earth closer to the brink of collapse. But unbeknownst to the invaders, their victory was far from certain. Hidden beneath the chaos, humanity's secret weapon waited patiently, poised to change the course of history forever. And so, as the celestial alignment approached, the stage was set for a confrontation unlike any other. The aliens believed they had already won, dismissing humanity as insignificant and powerless. But they had underestimated the resilience, ingenuity, and determination of the human spirit. Little did they know, Earth was about to reveal a side of itself that would shake the very foundations of the galaxy. The battle for survival was about to begin, and when it did, the invaders would learn the hard way that messing with humanity was the biggest mistake they would ever make. The alien fleet continued its relentless assault on Earth, raining destruction from the skies with frightening precision. Cities burned, oceans churned under the impact of energy beams, and forests were reduced to ash in mere seconds. The invaders showed no mercy, their weapons cutting through human defenses like paper. To Zorath 7 and his Apex Collective, this was nothing more than a routine conquest, a display of dominance over a species they deemed unworthy of existence. But what they didn't know was that humanity had been preparing for this moment for decades, quietly building a weapon so powerful it could turn the tide of the battle in an instant. Deep beneath the surface of the planet, hidden and fortified, bunkers shielded by layers of rock and advanced camouflage technology, engineers worked feverishly to complete Project Eclipse. The Star Destroyers, Earth's secret fleet, were humanity's ultimate insurance policy against extinction. These ships weren't just machines. They were marvels of engineering, born from years of studying alien technology recovered from crashed UFOs found in remote corners of the globe. Each piece of salvage tech had been painstakingly analyzed, reverse-engineered, and integrated into designs crafted by the brightest minds on Earth. What emerged from these efforts was a fleet, unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. At the heart of the operation was Captain Elena Vasquez, a decorated military officer chosen to lead the Eclipse initiative. She wasn't just a soldier. She was a strategist, a leader, and a symbol of hope for everyone involved in the project. Her calm demeanor masked the weight of responsibility resting on her shoulders. If Eclipse failed, there would be no second chances. Humanity's survival depended entirely on her ability to guide the team through the final stages of activation. Inside the command center, rows of monitors displayed complex data streams, tracking every aspect of the Star Destroyer's systems. Engineers monitored power levels, checked weapon calibrations, and ensured communication links between ships remained stable. The largest screen at the front of the room showed a countdown timer ticking down to 0, the moment when Earth's ionosphere would align perfectly with the stars, providing the massive surge of energy needed to bring the fleet online. Until then, the ships lay dormant, waiting for the signal that would awaken them. As the hours passed, tension mounted. Outside, the alien attacks grew more intense. Massive explosions rocked the ground above the bunker, sending tremors through the walls. Dust fell from the ceiling, but no one flinched. Every member of the team stayed focused, knowing that even a single mistake could doom the entire mission. "We're almost there," Elena said, her voice steady despite the chaos surrounding them. "Stay sharp. We've come too far to fail now." The Star Destroyers themselves were marvels of design. Each ship was named after mythological figures and historical icons, a nod to humanity's rich cultural heritage. The flagship, Aegis, was the crown jewel of the fleet. Its hull gleamed with a metallic finish that reflected light like liquid silver. Inside, advanced AI systems coordinated every function, from navigation to combat maneuvers. Plasma cannons lined its sides, capable of unleashing devastating barrages of energy. Quantum shields protected it from enemy fire, while experimental gravity stabilizers allowed it to withstand forces that would crush lesser vessels. But the true power of the fleet lay in its versatility. Smaller support ships accompanied the destroyers, each designed for specific roles. Some carried swarms of autonomous drones programmed to scout enemy positions and disrupt communications. Others housed repair crews equipped with nanobots capable of fixing damage in real time. Together, the fleet formed a cohesive unit ready to adapt to any situation. Above ground, the aliens pressed their advantage, confident in their superiority. Zorath 7 watched the destruction unfold from the bridge of his flagship, a monstrous vessel known as Oblivion. He sneered at the feeble resistance offered by Earth's outdated military forces. Tanks exploded under his ship's firepower, and fighter jets disintegrated before they could get close enough to pose a threat. To him, humanity was already defeated, a pathetic species clinging to its last moments of existence. What Zorath 7 didn't realize was that humanity's apparent weakness was part of a carefully orchestrated deception. World leaders had agreed to play along with the ruse, allowing the aliens to believe they were winning. Fake transmissions broadcast images of abandoned bases and empty supply depots, reinforcing the illusion of surrender. Civilians spread rumors of mass evacuations and government capitulation on social media, further convincing the invaders that Earth was defenseless. Meanwhile, deep underground, the Eclipse team worked tirelessly, inching closer to the moment when the truth would be revealed. Back in the bunker, the countdown entered its final minutes. The air buzzed with anticipation as engineers performed last-minute checks on the fleet's systems. Power conduits hummed with energy drawn from geothermal sources, ensuring the ships would have enough juice to activate. Communication officers tested the secure channels that would link the destroyers to Central Command. Pilots assigned to the smaller craft ran simulations, rehearsing formations and attack patterns. Everyone knew their role, and everyone understood the stakes. Elena stood at the center of it all, her eyes fixed on the countdown timer. Beside her, Dr. Marcus Chen, the lead scientist behind Eclipse, adjusted his glasses nervously. "Everything looks good," he said, though his voice betrayed a hint of doubt. "If the alignment goes as predicted, we'll have enough power to activate the fleet. But if something goes wrong..." "It won't," Elena interrupted firmly. "We've done everything we can. Trust the plan." Seconds ticked away. Outside, the alien bombardment reached a crescendo. A particularly powerful blast shook the bunker violently, causing lights to flicker. For a brief moment, panic rippled through the room, but Elena quickly restored order. "Focus," she barked. "We're almost there. Don't let them distract you." Finally, the timer hit 0. The celestial alignment occurred, bathing Earth's atmosphere in a dazzling display of cosmic energy. High above the planet, the ionosphere shimmered like a living aurora borealis, channeling unimaginable power into the hidden fleet. Deep within the bunker, alarms blared as the star destroyers roared to life. Lights blinked on across control panels, signaling successful activation. Cheers erupted among the team, but Elena silenced them with a raised hand. "This isn't over yet," she reminded them. "Get the fleet airborne." One by one, the star destroyers ascended from their underground hangars, breaking through the surface with thunderous force. Their engines ignited, propelling them skyward at incredible speeds. Within moments, they breached the atmosphere, emerging into space where the alien fleet awaited. The sight of Earth's armada stunned both humans and extraterrestrials alike. Sleek and imposing, the destroyers dwarfed many of the alien ships, their sheer size and advanced design leaving no doubt about their capabilities. Zorath 7 stared in disbelief as the new arrivals appeared on his ship's sensors. "What is this?" he growled, his arrogance giving way to confusion. His advisors scrambled to analyze the unknown vessels, but their readings made little sense. The ships defied conventional physics, their energy signatures off the charts. Before anyone could react, Aegis transmitted a message directly to Oblivion. Elena's voice crackled over the comm system, cold and authoritative. "This is Captain Elena Vasquez of the United Earth Fleet. Leave our world now, or face extinction." The aliens hesitated, unsure how to respond. They had expected primitive resistance, not a technologically superior force. Zorath 7 snarled in rage, ordering his fleet to open fire. Plasma bolts streaked toward the star destroyers, only to bounce harmlessly off their quantum shields. In retaliation, Aegis unleashed its plasma cannons, obliterating several alien ships in a single volley. The battle had begun, and for the first time, humanity held the upper hand. As the fight escalated, the star destroyers demonstrated their full potential. Smaller craft darted between enemy vessels, deploying drones that jammed communications and disrupted targeting systems. Repair ships hovered nearby, repairing damage almost as quickly as it occurred. The aliens, caught off guard by the ferocity and coordination of the counterattack, struggled to regroup. For the first time in centuries, the Apex Collective faced a foe capable of matching and surpassing their own might. On Earth, people watched the unfolding drama on television screens and smartphones. Images of the star destroyers battling the alien fleet filled the airwaves, sparking a mixture of awe and relief. Crowds gathered in city squares, cheering as news of victories poured in. Humanity had struck back, and it was nothing short of miraculous. In the command center of Aegis, Elena allowed herself a brief smile. The gamble had paid off. Against all odds, humanity had risen to meet the challenge, but she knew better than to celebrate prematurely. The battle was far from over, and the aliens wouldn't give up easily. Still, one thing was certain. Earth was no longer the helpless victim it once appeared to be. It had become a force to be reckoned with, a rising star in a galaxy that would never forget its name. And so, as the star destroyers pushed forward, humanity's resolve hardened. This was their moment, their chance to prove that they belonged among the stars. Whatever came next, they would face it together, with courage, determination, and the battle between Earth's star destroyers and the alien fleet raged across the skies, a spectacle of light and destruction that left humanity breathless. For the first time in recorded history, humans witnessed their planet defending itself, not with outdated weapons or fragile fighter jets, but with colossal ships bristling with advanced technology. The sight of Aegis leading the charge filled people with awe and pride. This was no longer a story of survival. It was a declaration of power. Zorath 7, however, refused to accept defeat. His arrogance had blinded him to the possibility that humanity could pose a real threat, and now he found himself grappling with anger and disbelief. From the bridge of Oblivion, He watched as his once dominant fleet faltered under the relentless assault of Earth's newly revealed armada. Alien ships exploded in bursts of fiery debris, their crews unable to comprehend how they had been outmatched so decisively. Zorath 7 clenched his fists, his knuckles turning white as he barked orders to his commanders. "Regroup. Focus fire on their flagship," he roared, determined to turn the tide back in his favor. But Elena Vasquez and her team were ready for him. Inside Aegis, the crew worked with precision, coordinating every move with the smaller support ships flanking them. Plasma cannons fired in rapid succession, each shot calculated to maximize damage while minimizing wasted energy. Quantum shields absorbed incoming enemy fire, shimmering faintly as they deflected beams of energy that would have torn lesser vessels apart. Meanwhile, swarms of autonomous drones zipped through the battlefield, targeting weak points in the alien ship's armor and disabling critical systems. One by one, the aliens fell back, their formations crumbling under the pressure. Some tried to retreat, only to find themselves boxed in by Earth's smaller craft. Others launched desperate kamikaze runs, hoping to take at least one human ship down with them. But even these suicidal tactics failed. The Star Destroyers, AI systems anticipated every move, adjusting positions and firing patterns with uncanny speed. It was as if the humans had studied the aliens' strategies beforehand, and in a way, they had. Years of analyzing recovered alien tech had given humanity insights into their enemies' strengths and weaknesses. On Earth, the mood shifted dramatically. At first, civilians had cowered in fear, convinced that annihilation was inevitable. But, as news spread of the Star Destroyer's success, hope began to replace despair. Families gathered around televisions, watching live feeds of the battle unfold. Social media erupted with messages of gratitude and admiration for the brave men and women aboard the fleet. Hashtags like Calm, Humanity Fights Back, and Twarn Earth Rises trended globally, uniting people from all corners of the planet. Even those who had doubted the existence of aliens now cheered alongside believers, united by a shared sense of triumph. For Captain Vasquez, the moment was surreal. She stood on the bridge of Aegis, her eyes scanning the holographic displays, showing the positions of both fleets. Every explosion, every destroyed enemy ship brought her closer to victory, but she knew better than to let her guard down. Zorath 7 wasn't finished yet, and she suspected he still had a few tricks up his sleeve. "Stay sharp," she reminded her crew over the intercom. "We're winning, but this isn't over." Her instincts proved correct. As the battle dragged on, Zorath 7 made a bold decision. He ordered his surviving ships to form a defensive perimeter around Oblivion, creating a shield of overlapping energy fields designed to protect his flagship. Then, with grim determination, he activated his ultimate weapon, a black hole generator capable of swallowing entire planets. If Earth wouldn't surrender willingly, he would tear it apart piece by piece. The activation sequence sent shockwaves through the alien fleet. Massive panels on Oblivion's hull slid open, revealing a dark sphere pulsating with ominous energy. Gravity distorted around it, pulling nearby debris into its growing maw. Within seconds, the black hole began expanding, threatening to consume everything in its path, including Aegis. Alarms blared across the human fleet as sensors detected the anomaly. Pilots scrambled to adjust their trajectories, but the gravitational pull was too strong. Ships struggled to break free, their engines straining against the immense force dragging them toward doom. Elena's heart raced as she processed the situation. The black hole posed an existential threat not just to the fleet, but to Earth itself. If it continued to grow unchecked, it could destabilize the planet's orbit or even collapse the entire solar system. There was no time to waste. Turning to her tactical officer, she issued a command that seemed insane. "Take us straight into its path." "What?" the officer exclaimed, his voice tinged with panic. "Captain, we'll be crushed. We don't have a choice," Elena replied, her tone leaving no room for argument. "If we don't stop it now, Earth is gone. Activate the gravity stabilizers. They're our only shot." The gravity stabilizers were an experimental feature integrated into Aegis during the final stages of development. Designed to counteract extreme gravitational forces, they had never been tested in combat. But there was no turning back now. With a deep breath, Elena gave the order, and Aegis surged forward, its engines blazing as it hurtled toward the expanding black hole. From the alien perspective, the move looked suicidal. Zorath 7 sneered as he watched Aegis approach, certain that the human flagship was about to meet its end. "They've made a fatal mistake," he muttered to his advisors. "Let them see what happens when you challenge the Apex Collective." But Elena had planned for this. As Aegis entered the black hole's event horizon, the gravity stabilizers kicked in, generating a counterforce that neutralized the singularity's pull. The ship shuddered violently, its hull groaning under the strain, but it held together. Slowly, painfully, Aegis pushed deeper into the anomaly, deploying experimental containment fields to shrink the black hole back to manageable proportions. Sparks flew across the bridge as systems overloaded, but the crew remained focused, following Elena's commands without hesitation. Minutes passed like hours. Finally, with a burst of energy, the black hole collapsed in on itself, disappearing entirely. Silence fell over the battlefield as both sides processed what had just happened. Zorath 7 stared in stunned disbelief at his monitors, unable to comprehend how his ultimate weapon had been thwarted. On Aegis, the crew erupted into cheers, exhausted but victorious. Elena allowed herself a small smile before turning her attention back to the fight. "Status report," she demanded. "Shields are holding at 40%, the tactical officer reported. "Engines are damaged, but we're still operational. The rest of the fleet is regrouping." Elena nodded. "Good. Tell the others to finish the job. We're ending this now." With renewed determination, the human fleet pressed its advantage. The remaining alien ships, already weakened and disorganized, crumbled under the onslaught. Plasma cannons tore through their ranks, while missiles tracked fleeing vessels and obliterated them in fiery explosions. Zorath 7, realizing the futility of continuing the fight, issued a retreat order. "Fall back," he shouted, his voice laced with fury and humiliation. "We'll return another day." As the surviving alien ships fled into deep space, the battlefield fell silent. Humanity had won. Exhausted but elated, the crew of Aegis exchanged hugs and high fives, celebrating their hard-fought victory. Outside, Earth's skies cleared, revealing stars that seemed brighter than ever before. For the first time in days, people stepped outside, looking up at the heavens with newfound confidence. They weren't afraid anymore. They were proud. Back on Earth, celebrations erupted in cities and towns worldwide. Fireworks lit up the night sky, and crowds chanted slogans praising the bravery of the fleet. Politicians delivered speeches hailing the dawn of a new era, one where humanity stood tall among the stars. But amidst the jubilation, Elena Vasquez remained grounded. Standing on the bridge of Aegis, she gazed out at the vast expanse of space. The battle may have been won, but she knew the war for Earth's place in the galaxy was far from over. Zorath 7 and the Apex Collective might have retreated, but they wouldn't forget this humiliation. Somewhere out there, beyond the reaches of human exploration, they were regrouping, planning their next move. And when they returned, they would come stronger, angrier, and more determined than ever. But Elena didn't fear them. Humanity had proven it could adapt, innovate, and fight back against even the most daunting odds. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she was ready to face them head-on. For now, though, the galaxy had received a clear message. Earth was no longer a target to be conquered. It was a force to be respected. And humanity, the once insignificant species, dismissed as primitive, had risen to claim its rightful place among the stars. The victory over the alien fleet was a momentous achievement, one that resonated not just on Earth but across the galaxy. News of humanity's triumph spread like wildfire, carried by signals transmitted through deep space. For centuries, Earth had been an overlooked speck in the cosmos, a planet dismissed as primitive and unworthy of attention. But now everything had changed. The image of Aegis leading a fleet of star destroyers against overwhelming odds became a symbol of resilience and ingenuity. Humanity wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. In the days following the battle, Earth transformed into a hive of activity. Governments scrambled to address the aftermath of the invasion, coordinating relief efforts for cities devastated by the aliens' initial assault. Emergency response teams worked tirelessly to extinguish fires, rebuild infrastructure, and care for the injured. Volunteers poured into affected areas, offering food, shelter, and emotional support to those who had lost everything. Amid the destruction, acts of kindness and solidarity reminded people what it meant to be human. Strangers became neighbors, and communities came together to heal. But while life slowly returned to normal on the surface, the skies above remained alive with activity. The Star Destroyers patrolled Earth's orbit, ensuring that no remnants of the alien fleet lingered nearby. Pilots aboard smaller fighter crafts darted between asteroids and debris fields, searching for any signs of danger. Inside, Aegis, Captain Elena Vasquez oversaw cleanup operations, her focus unwavering despite the exhaustion etched on her face. She knew better than anyone that the threat hadn't disappeared. It had merely retreated. As word of Earth's newfound power reached other corners of the galaxy, reactions varied. Some alien species viewed humanity with curiosity, eager to learn more about the species that had dared to stand up to the Apex Collective. Others watched warily, unsure whether this sudden rise to prominence posed a threat to their own interests. Diplomatic envoys from distant civilizations began arriving, seeking audiences with Earth's leaders. Their motives ranged from genuine admiration to cautious skepticism, but all shared one common sentiment: respect. At the United Nations headquarters in New York City, representatives from these alien delegations gathered alongside world leaders to discuss the future. The assembly hall buzzed with energy as translators worked feverishly to bridge language barriers. Beings of every shape and size filled the room, some humanoid, others resembling creatures straight out of science fiction novels. Despite their differences, they listened intently as Elena addressed the crowd via holographic projection from Aegis. Her voice was calm yet firm, carrying the weight of someone who had seen humanity at its best and worst. "We are not aggressors," she declared, her words echoing through the chamber. "But neither will we tolerate aggression. We have fought to protect our home, and we will continue to do so if necessary. However, we also believe in cooperation. Together, let us forge a future where peace reigns supreme." Her speech earned applause from many attendees, though some exchanged wary glances. They understood the implications of her message. Humanity was willing to collaborate, but only on equal terms. No longer would Earth bow to superior technology or brute force. It demanded recognition as a peer, capable of contributing to the galactic community in meaningful ways. Behind the scenes, negotiations unfolded at a rapid pace. Trade agreements were proposed, offering exotic resources mined from Earth's oceans and deserts in exchange for advanced technologies. Scientific partnerships formed, allowing researchers to share knowledge about quantum mechanics, artificial intelligence, and sustainable energy solutions. Cultural exchanges blossomed, introducing humanity to art forms, philosophies, and traditions from worlds beyond imagination. These interactions enriched both sides, fostering mutual understanding and paving the way for long-term alliances. However, not everyone welcomed Earth's ascension with open arms. Whispers of dissent circulated among certain factions within the alien coalition. Zorath 7, humiliated by his defeat, refused to accept responsibility for the loss. Instead, he blamed his subordinates, accusing them of incompetence and cowardice. In secret meetings aboard his damaged flagship, Oblivion, he plotted revenge. He vowed to return to Earth, not with brute force this time, but with subtlety and strategy. His advisors warned him against another direct confrontation, arguing that humanity's technological prowess made such an approach suicidal. Zorath 7 dismissed their concerns, convinced that he could exploit weaknesses in human society. Meanwhile, back on Earth, preparations continued for whatever challenges lay ahead. Engineers upgraded the Star Destroyers, incorporating lessons learned from the battle. Weapon systems grew more efficient, shielding technology more robust, and AI algorithms more adaptive. Underground bunkers expanded to house additional personnel, ensuring that Project Eclipse could operate uninterrupted even under extreme conditions. Civil defense programs trained civilians in emergency protocols, teaching them how to respond to potential threats. Humanity understood that complacency was its greatest enemy. Staying vigilant was the key to survival. Captain Vasquez played a pivotal role in shaping Earth's post-battle strategy. Alongside military leaders and scientists, she devised contingency plans for various scenarios, ranging from covert infiltration attempts to large-scale invasions. Intelligence networks monitored alien communications, intercepting transmissions that hinted at hostile intentions. Spies embedded within alien societies reported back regularly, providing valuable insights into their cultures and motivations. Every piece of information helped paint a clearer picture of the galaxy's political landscape and humanity's place within it. Yet, despite the constant state of readiness, there were moments of reflection. Late at night, when the chaos subsided and the stars shone brightly through the windows of Aegis, Elena allowed herself to think about the bigger picture. What did it mean to be part of something greater than oneself? How could humanity balance ambition with humility, strength with compassion? These questions weighed heavily on her mind, reminding her that leadership wasn't just about winning battles, it was about building bridges. On Earth, ordinary citizens adapted to their new reality. Schools introduced courses on interstellar, diplomacy, and xenobiology, preparing younger generations for a future among the stars. Artists drew inspiration from alien aesthetics, creating works that blended human creativity with extraterrestrial influences. Entrepreneurs explored opportunities in space tourism, envisioning a world where traveling to other planets became as routine as boarding an airplane. Even skeptics who had once doubted the existence of aliens found themselves captivated by the possibilities. For all its progress, however, humanity faced lingering challenges. Environmental damage caused by the alien attack required years of restoration efforts. Economic disparities widened as nations competed for access to alien trade routes and resources. Philosophical debates raged over humanity's role in the universe. Should it strive for dominance or should it embrace coexistence? These issues couldn't be resolved overnight, but they sparked important conversations about identity, ethics, and purpose. Through it all, the memory of the battle served as a reminder of what humanity was capable of achieving. When faced with annihilation, people had banded together, pooling their talents and determination to create something extraordinary. The Star Destroyers weren't just machines. They were symbols of hope, proof that even the smallest actions could lead to monumental change. And so, as weeks turned into months, Earth settled into its new role as a galactic power. Its skies remained clear, guarded by the ever-watchful eyes of the fleet. Its people looked to the stars with a mixture of wonder and resolve, knowing that their journey was far from over. Somewhere out there, Zorath 7 plotted his next move, driven by hatred and pride. But humanity stood ready, armed with courage, innovation, and an unshakable belief in its ability to overcome any obstacle. The galaxy had underestimated Earth once before, and it wouldn't make that mistake again. In the months following humanity's unprecedented victory over the Apex Collective, Earth found itself at a crossroads. The battle had not only secured the planet's safety, but also thrust it into the spotlight of galactic politics. For the Jedi, first time in history, humans were no longer passive observers of the universe. They were active participants, shaping their destiny among the stars. Yet this newfound prominence came with challenges as daunting as any alien invasion. The presence of Earth's Star Destroyers patrolling the skies became a symbol of both strength and vigilance. To the average person on the ground, these massive ships represented hope, a promise that humanity would never again be caught unprepared. Children gazed up at them during school recess, imagining themselves aboard Aegis or Phoenix, the Yao, fleet's second in command. Adults marveled at how far they'd come in such a short time, from fearing extinction to standing toe-to-toe with interstellar powers. But behind the scenes, Captain Elena Vasquez and her team knew that complacency was the enemy. The galaxy was vast, unpredictable, and full of species who might see Earth's rise as a threat rather than an opportunity. Alien delegations continued to arrive, each bringing unique perspectives and agendas. Some sought alliances, eager to benefit from Earth's innovative spirit and resourcefulness. Others tested the waters cautiously, unsure whether humanity's boldness masked hidden vulnerabilities. Trade routes opened between Earth and distant planets, introducing exotic materials like lumina crystals, energy sources capable of powering entire cities for decades, and bioengineered crops that thrived in harsh conditions. These exchanges transformed economies worldwide, creating jobs and opportunities unimaginable just years earlier. But beneath the surface of cooperation simmered tensions. Not all aliens viewed humanity favorably. Zorath 7 remained a shadowy figure, lurking in the fringes of known space. Rumors spread of his growing influence within rogue factions dissatisfied with the current galactic order. These groups whispered of revenge, vowing to reclaim what they believed was rightfully theirs: dominance over weaker species. Intelligence reports intercepted by Earth's operatives suggested that Zorath 7 had begun recruiting mercenaries and scavenging remnants of the defeated Apex Collective Fleet. His ultimate goal? To strike back harder and smarter than before. Captain Vasquez took these threats seriously. From her command post aboard Aegis, she coordinated ongoing efforts to fortify Earth's defenses. Engineers worked around the clock to upgrade the Star Destroyers, incorporating feedback from the battle against the aliens. Quantum shields grew more resilient, plasma cannons gained increased range and accuracy, and experimental stealth technology allowed smaller craft to evade detection. Pilots trained relentlessly, simulating scenarios ranging from asteroid field navigation to dogfights against superior numbers. Every member of the fleet understood that preparation was key. When the next attack came, and it would come, they needed to be ready. On Earth, governments collaborated to establish a Global Defense Council, GDC, tasked with overseeing interstellar relations and safeguarding planetary security. Representatives from every nation participated, ensuring decisions reflected diverse viewpoints. Debates often grew heated, particularly when discussing resource allocation and military funding. Developing countries argued for equitable access to alien technologies, while wealthier nations pushed for rapid advancements in weaponry. Despite disagreements, the GDC succeeded in fostering a sense of unity, reminding people that humanity's survival depended on collective effort. Meanwhile, public fascination with extraterrestrial life reached new heights. Museums hosted exhibits featuring artifacts recovered from crashed UFOs, drawing millions of visitors eager to glimpse pieces of alien engineering. Schools introduced courses on xenolinguistics and interspecies diplomacy, preparing students for careers in a rapidly changing world. Artists drew inspiration from alien cultures, blending human creativity with cosmic aesthetics. Movies and books imagined futures where Earth played a central role in galactic affairs, inspiring audiences young and old. Yet, amidst the excitement, darker realities persisted. Environmental damage inflicted during the alien assault required extensive restoration efforts. Forests burned by energy beams struggled to regrow, and oceans polluted by debris posed health risks to coastal communities. Climate scientists warned that Earth's ecosystems remained fragile, urging policymakers to prioritize sustainability alongside technological advancement. Economic disparities widened as some regions benefited disproportionately from alien trade agreements. Social unrest flared in neglected areas, prompting calls for reform and greater inclusivity. For Elena, balancing progress with responsibility weighed heavily on her mind. She spent countless hours strategizing with advisors, weighing the benefits of expansion against the risks of provoking hostility. Late nights aboard Aegis became routine, her thoughts drifting to the bigger questions humanity now faced. What kind of legacy did they want to leave in the stars? How could they ensure that power didn't corrupt their ideals? These dilemmas haunted her, reminding her that leadership wasn't just about winning battles, it was about building a future worth fighting for. One evening, as she stood on the observation deck of Aegis, staring out at the endless expanse of space, Elena received an unexpected message. It came from an anonymous source deep within alien-controlled territory. A warning. Zorath 7 is gathering forces, the transmission read. He plans to strike soon. Trust no one. Though vague, the message carried undeniable urgency. Elena immediately convened a meeting with her senior staff, sharing the intel and outlining contingency plans. The fleet shifted into high alert, deploying additional patrols and reinforcing orbital defenses. Days passed without incident, heightening anxiety among both civilians and military personnel. Media outlets speculated wildly about potential threats, fueling paranoia and fear. Conspiracy theories abounded, with some claiming the aliens had already infiltrated Earth's governments. Others dismissed the warnings as misinformation designed to destabilize global unity. Amid the chaos, Elena remained calm, focusing on facts rather than speculation. She trusted her instincts and her team to guide humanity through whatever lay ahead. Then, one fateful morning, the skies above Earth lit up once more. Dozens of unidentified vessels appeared at the edge of the solar system, moving with deliberate speed toward the planet. Sensors identified them as hybrid ships, part alien, part scavenged technology. Their leader? None other than Zorath 7 himself, commanding a makeshift armada fueled by desperation and hatred. This time he brought reinforcements. Mercenaries, bounty hunters, and renegade factions united under his banner of vengeance. The battle that followed was fierce and brutal. Zorath 7's forces launched surprise attacks on multiple fronts, targeting civilian infrastructure and military installations simultaneously. Cities plunged into darkness as power grids failed, and communication networks collapsed under relentless assaults. Panic spread quickly, but humanity responded with resilience born from experience. Civil defense protocols activated across the globe, guiding citizens to safe zones while emergency responders worked tirelessly to restore order. Above, the Star Destroyers clashed with the invaders in a dazzling display of firepower. Plasma bolts streaked across the heavens, lighting up the night sky like fireworks. Smaller craft darted between larger ships, deploying drones and missiles with pinpoint precision. Elena led the charge from Aegis, her tactical brilliance turning the tide in humanity's favor. When Zorath 7 attempted to deploy another black hole generator, the fleet neutralized it before it could activate, thanks to lessons learned from their previous encounter. As the battle raged on, humanity demonstrated not just strength, but ingenuity. Ground-based defenses coordinated perfectly with orbital strikes, trapping enemy ships in deadly crossfires. AI systems adapted in real time, anticipating moves and exploiting weaknesses. Even civilians contributed, using homemade devices to jam alien signals and disrupt their operations. Together, humanity proved that its greatest weapon wasn't advanced technology, it was unity. By dawn, the invaders lay in ruins. Zorath 7's flagship, Oblivion, exploded in a fiery blaze, taking its commander with it. Survivors fled into deep space, leaving behind a trail of wreckage. Cheers erupted across Earth as news of the victory spread. People poured into streets, celebrating not just survival but triumph. Humanity had faced its darkest hour and emerged, stronger than ever. In the aftermath, Earth solidified its position as a galactic power. Diplomatic ties strengthened, and trade flourished. Alien allies praised humanity's courage and determination, pledging support in maintaining peace. Yet whispers of dissent lingered in the shadows. Rogue factions still plotted revenge, and unknown dangers lurked beyond explored space. Humanity understood that its journey was far from over, but it faced the future with confidence. Elena addressed the United Nations once more, her voice echoing through chambers filled with representatives from countless worlds. "We are not perfect," she admitted, "but we are learning. We have fought to protect our home, and we will continue to fight for a better tomorrow, for ourselves and for all who share this universe." Her words resonated deeply, reminding everyone of the values that defined human